Alright, I'm going to make this quick video for the sub install I did for the Nissan Altima because I could not find a video online on how I did it. But basically, how I did it to keep the factory Bose system. So here's the power wire, obviously. Remove the air box and you can get the power wire through a grommet. There's one grommet back there that is about right here. It is very snug, very hard to get your wrist in there. But basically, if you can get your hand in there, push the grommet down, and then you have to feed the wire. So if you can push the grommet down like this and maybe feed it through like that, however it works for you, but that's the way you need to feed it through. Then, in order to keep the factory Bose on this side is where the factory Bose amp. This is a 2012. So the 2012, it was on this side. There are two harnesses. Big harness, violet wire. That's what you want to tap into. That gives you constant power that lets you run the factory Bose system and it won't cut out. Also, tapped into the 6x9s up here. So here's your positive and your negative. I believe, can't remember what, I think the positive is the pink and the negative is the brown, or vice versa. I can't remember. You might have to just reverse polarity to figure it out. But then I used the RCA adapter by Kicker and plugged in the RCAs from there, then zip tied it up. This RCAs, I will say, with the Bose system, you will have to get a bass knob, or at least I had to get a bass knob. These are two 10-inch JLW1V2s, I think 1V3s. I've got the 250 by 1 amp by JL underneath here. It just goes underneath. There it is, hidden. Power wires and everything are hidden, and all the wires are run underneath, so it's all snug. You don't see any of it. It's all hidden, and so they go through there. I had to get a bass knob, and so you run the RCAs through here. Run the RCAs from the RCA converter that you tapped into the 6x9s. You're going to run one of those up here, and you run that into the input, and then the output comes in. You run another RCA that runs to the amp. Now if your amp has a bass knob input, you can just use the bass knob. Mine did not, so I had to use the RCA universal. But if you just bought a universal, that's the way to do it. Or if you had a head unit, if you wanted a universal, you take them from the head unit, go straight out of the head unit into the input of that, then you're going to go to the output of that all the way to the amp. So it would be input from the aftermarket. You're going to go out of the aftermarket into the input on the universal bass control, from the output of the bass control to the input of your amplifier. That's how it works. Super simple. Made it work really well. Sounds great, but I definitely had to add a bass knob because it was way too loud. But that's basically, I wanted to make this short video because I could not find a install online, forums, anywhere that showed how to do it in a Nissan Altima Coupe and keep the factory Bose system. So this is how I do it. Hopefully it helps anybody else, and I try to keep this video short and sweet because I know how it is watching the video and it just keeps going on and on. So remember, if you're going to tap into the factory Bose system, right side of the vehicle, underneath where the spare tire is, underneath the black foam that has for the tools, pull all that up. There you got two harnesses in there. The one harness with the bigger wires, violet, tap into that. That's your power for your remote wire to run to your amp. Then you're going to run and tap into the 6x9s that are in the shelf. You run that into an RCA converter. Then you run your power wire and everything else. You can run from the RCAs on the RCA converter to the amp, or you can run it up here and do the bass knob and run it back to the amp. That's how I did it. Hopefully it helps you guys. Thanks for watching.